welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby and today I'm going to be talking about 15 thrillers that are releasing in 2020 that I'm really excited to read. Most of these are releasing the first 6 or 7 months of the year just because a lot of the later releases have not yet been announced. I'm not going to be going into the synopsis of each book, but I will link them all down below so you can go check them out for yourself if you want to hear more about what they're about. But let's get right into it. The first one I have to talk about is Behind Every Lie by Christina McDonald, and this one already came out on February 4th, but I haven't read it yet, so I'm still really excited to read it. I read her book that came out last year and I loved it, and so I'm really excited to see what all the hype is on this one. The next one I have to talk about comes out on March 3rd, and that is 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. His books have been pretty hit or miss for me, but I've noticed that his newer releases are my favorite by him, so I just feel like his books have been getting better and better over time. I heard this kind of has a game element to it, and it includes other books within it, so I think the premise of that sounds really intriguing and I'm very excited to pick it up. The next one I have to talk about also comes out on March 3rd, and that is You Are Not Alone by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I read both of their previous co-written books and I loved them, and so I'm so excited to pick this one up. I do have a NetGalley arc, so I'm really looking forward to reading it within the next month or so. The next one that I have comes out April 21st, and that is Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. I have a physical arc of this from the publisher, and I'm really excited to get to it because I read Jar of Hearts by this author last year and I loved it. It was very dark and twisted, and when I read the synopsis of this one, it just sounded really intriguing to me. And then on April 28th, we have The Split by Sharon Bolton. I read one other book by this author called Daisy in Chains back in, I believe, 2018, and I really enjoyed it. It was a very dark thriller. I haven't read anything else by this author since. I didn't read the synopsis, but based on the title, The Split, maybe it's about either a couple that split up or someone who has a split personality. Both of those things sound really good to me, so I'm hoping to pick this one up this year. The next one I have comes out May 5th, and that is A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreet. And I read one other book by this author last year and I loved it, and I still have another book by this author on my shelves to be read. I'm assuming it's a domestic thriller based on the title, but I want to go into it blind and just enjoy it. The next one I have comes out on May 26th, and that is Sister Dear by Hannah Mary McKinnon. I also have an arc of this off of NetGalley, and I've read one other book by this author and I really enjoyed it. I've heard her newer stuff is a little more hit or miss, but I'm very excited to pick this one up. Then on May 28th, we have The Wife Stalker by Liv Constantine, and I've read 2 other books by this author duo. I loved one of them, but the other one I was kind of disappointed by, so I'm kind of curious to see if this one is more like The Last Mrs. Parrish or if it's like the more recent release that they had. I'm hoping it's more like The Last Mrs. Parrish because that one I loved so much. I'm hoping this one is just as good. And then on June 9th, we have The Wife Who Knew Too Much by Michele Campbell. I've read a few books by this author and they've been kind of hit or miss for me, but the last one I read was pretty decent, so I'm hoping this author's writing is just getting better and better. I'm assuming it is a domestic thriller. Also on June 9th, we have A Stranger in the Lake by Kimberly Bell. I've read 2 books by this author and I absolutely loved them. I think I gave them both like 4.5 or 5 stars. So I'm assuming that I'm going to love this one as well, and just the title alone is really creepy, so I'm hoping this is a very creepy read. Then on June 16th, we have The Half Sister by Sandy Jones. I loved Sandy Jones' 2019 release, which is The First Mistake, and so I'm hoping I love this one as well. Then on June 23rd, we have The Swap by Robin Harding. I haven't loved Robin Harding's previous releases, but the premise of all her books really intrigued me, and I believe this is about 2 married couples who swap spouses, which sounds really intriguing, and I am hoping I like this one more than her previous books. Also on June 23rd, we have The Girl from Widow Hills by Megan Miranda. I also have an arc of this off of NetGalley, and I have loved all of Megan Miranda's previous adult thrillers, so I just know I'm gonna love this one as well. I would say her books lean more towards mystery and less toward thriller, but I still love her writing. I love her storytelling, and I just know I'm gonna love this one too. Then on July 7th, we have Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, and I've loved all 3 books that I've read by this author, and based on the cover of this one, I believe it's gonna be more like Lock Every Door, which came out in 2019. So I'm guessing a little more creepy and atmospheric and maybe less thrillery. So I'm all here for it, and I am so excited to pick this one up. The last one I have to talk about comes out July 28th, and that is His and Hers by Alice Feeney. And I have loved one of her books and hated her 2019 release, so I'm really hoping I love this one. I'm hoping it is a little more like Sometimes I Lie versus I Know Who You Are, and so my fingers are crossed that I'm going to love this one. So those are 15 thrillers that are coming out in 2020 that I am excited for. I'd love to hear what thrillers you guys are excited to read, and if you've already read some new releases that are really good. As always, I will link all these down below, and I will see you guys on my next one. Bye!